Happy and blessed Tuesday, Team Relentless. Welcome to our weekly team training sessions. My name is Myra Ferrer. I'm one of your executive sales directors. And every week we get to plug in to learn from our leaders who extend their hand back after having paved the way and created a great deal of success for themselves. We plug in week after week so that we get to learn and grow as well on this journey and on our path to creating our very own success. So in the spirit of celebration, which is the absolute best way that we love to get these kicked off, just keeping that tone, keeping that winning mindset, and of course, celebrating those top 10 agents across our entire Team Relentless umbrella nationwide under the direction of our Senior Vice President, Mr. Xavier Marrero. I'm gonna name these 10 individuals who have actually exceeded this entire volume month so far with the top 10 and highest enrollments of clients into our protection plan membership. What that means is they've been able to welcome families to transform their future financially, to work on their goals. And maybe this person is who actually invited you to this information as well. So starting off with our number one spot, we recognize our Vice President, Bruno Florida. Next, Vice President Anthony Kelly, Bianca Baez, Zandra Valles, Tina Levon Foster, Raisa Santiago, Chantel Ramirez, Anthony Winters, Rosario Salazar, and Dr. Arnold Bogerty, another vice president. Let's celebrate them, light it up in the chat, acknowledge them the same way you would want someone celebrating your success. Moving on to our second top 10 list. This is gonna be for the agents who have topped the charts for this entire business month so far with growing our family, expanding our reach. One of the names I dropped tonight might be the person who invited you on this journey. And I promise you're gonna thank them eternally, at least if you're on this journey to win with us, right? So number one spot held by Vice President Bruno Florida, Vice President Zandra Valles, Regional Vice President Raisa Santiago, Mayra Camarillo, Bianca Baez, Chad Sanchez, Dominique Green, Kimberly Solomon, Aetha White, and Erica Morales. So congratulations, love, love, love that we can celebrate these successes. Your name could be dropped too. Just continue to grow and bless other people. Now, this is definitely an exciting time. Again, this is our 5-week of the 5-week volume month. If you're not sure what that means, just simply put, our calendar is not from the 1st of the month to the 30th of the month. We have weeks where we celebrate our business volume month. So when we have these 5-week volume months, that's an additional week where we get to be active in growing our business, active inviting people to the solution and this amazing program. And it also counts towards a great deal of those promotions, how we've had so much activity and growing into this new season and new year. And I'm super excited because I know on 3/27, we'll be celebrating a great deal of those promotions. Also, we have an upcoming event in Greenville, South Carolina. Make sure that you're plugging in. It completely cuts the learning curve tremendously. We get to learn by our top leaders within the company. It's our very next and upcoming corporate event. And it's honestly an 8-hour drive from Tampa. There's flights, there's ways to get there. Trust me, just as you've invested to be on this journey and in this business, you as well want to make sure you're taking the time to stick around the campfire, learning and earning along the way. But for our training tonight, I hope you've gotten your thought process open, your mind is ready, and that class will be in session for this evening. Be ready to take down some notes, and there, of course, will be some interaction. But I'm gonna get myself out of the way by introducing one of our trainers this evening. It's someone you should definitely pay a great deal of attention to. This gentleman topped both of our charts for tonight, but he does so week after week after week. Always pouring into the team. I don't think I've ever seen this gentleman not contributing to someone's growth on this journey. I know personally, I consider it a blessing to have him not only as a friend, but as a business partner. He's a vice president in this opportunity. So he's been able to create an organization generating over $100,000 in volume every 30 days. Prior to this industry, he actually served our country, and seriously, that level of entrega, like we say in Spanish, that level and degree of commitment to offering up and serving others is huge. He's a husband, he's a father, he's a phenomenal mentor. He's walked the stages training, and he's also invested a great deal of his time, energy, effort, and money into continuing to extend his reach and grow his fund of knowledge to come back and share that with all of us. So again, this is someone that's winning by track record. You've definitely heard his name before. And I'm going to hurry up and get myself out of the way. Please give your undivided attention to none other than our Vice President, Dr. Arnold Bogerty. Do you hear me?
Team Relentless. What's going on, Myra? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly well.
All right, great. Hey, like always, this team doesn't really work as well as it did. Trust me, because I remember that week you were missing and I had to do your job. I'm mispronouncing names. I am just messing up. And so when I tell you, you are invaluable to the team. All right. I'm sure people out there was like, damn, he can't even pronounce my name. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. All right. But, Myra, you do a great job. Amazing job. Every week, just pouring into the team and just letting everybody know, and your edification skills are just amazing. I tell you what. But listen, guys, we don't want to take up too much of your time. It is the 5th week of the 5-week volume month. And I tell you what, if you guys could be in the MVP chat, I want to shout out Bianca doing an amazing job. I just want to shout her out, especially because she's motivated me. And then in the other chats that we have, just seeing the success that has happened. And it's no doubt because you guys are plugging in, you're staying plugged in. You see, the key to success, guys, is staying around the campfire. The key to success is always improving yourself. Well, how do you do that? You get around people that for a season may be smarter than you. Okay. And then when you become the fastest person on that track, you move to another track. All right. And you run on that track until you become the fastest person on that track. And then you move to the other track. And so that's what we're doing right now, guys. You never stop learning, never stop improving. And the way that you do that is always being plugged in. If you've noticed, all of the leaders that are on our team, the people that have had, some semblance of financial freedom or who has financial freedom, they are always plugged in. And so that's kudos to you, but you guys, success leaves clues. And the clue is to stay plugged in, to make the training, and know that, hey, maybe this isn't your season because maybe you're in the season of planning, all right, of learning, but that harvest season is coming. All right. And just ask Bianca, ask Rob. Rob's been with us. Well, y'all know Vice President Rob Santiago pouring into everybody. Rob is in the harvest season right now. There's a lot of us, a lot of people out there whose seasons has come a little bit later than they may have wanted it to come, but they're always plugged in. And now you see that harvest happening. So here we are, guys, the 5th week of our power presentation. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Myra, tell me if it's up, if you got it.
Yes.
All right, guys. So, hey, we're in the 5th week of the power presentation. I want to give a shout out to our senior vice president, for allowing myself and David and even Jackie to come in because she did a great job filling me for last week, guys. My voice was gone. You guys heard it. It's starting to come back a little bit. But we're in the 5th week of the power presentation. And we thought during this 5-week, it would be to the team's advantage to be able to learn how to present the information, how to go ahead and transfer your beliefs onto someone else, because all people want to know is, hey, is this person doing big things? Can I follow this person? Will this person teach me, be there to support me? And the way that you do that is be able to present the information, be able to present yourself the right way. All right, guys. And so this is what we presented on. All right. The power presentation, the presentation power execution workshop framework. All right. And if you look at the 5 presentations, every network marketer should know, it started back, guys, with your story, learning your story, knowing the 4 parts of your story. Okay. Your background. All right. What you didn't like about it, the solution that you found, and then how you feel about the future. We have heard so many people share their story over the past 5 weeks, and they've gotten better and better and better at it. You see that this is the largest block, all right, in this foundation. Why? Because your story sets everything else off. You want people saying, me too, I can do that, I can relate. Remember we talked about, the ordinary story is way better than the extraordinary story. Never embellish, okay? Tell people where you're at, because they will appreciate that, because they can relate, and tell them where you're going. And then we moved into perfect opportunity presentation. This is being able to present our information, okay? This is being able to present the slides, the presentation that we have, the UCES and the UWE, but doing it in an effective way. And so we taught you, and David did a great job, talking about, the 4 parts, of it. Hey, is there an opportunity there? Let me go back, to my notes really fast. But, is it opportunity? Okay. Does the product meet the need? Does it solve a legitimate problem? All right. Is it priced to sell? And can you make a profit? You see all of the slides that we have, the slide deck, you're probably wondering, why is it structured the way that it is? Because it answered those questions basically in order. You see, when I learned that, it made it a lot easier for me to present the information, because then I knew why. I knew the psychology behind it. And so we taught that. And then we went into getting started. We all know you have a certain amount of time to launch an agent effectively. So we started the getting started, okay, launching them effectively. All right, teaching them, hey, what to expect, letting them know that, hey, this is not going to be, an overnight success. You have to work at it, but we are here to show you exactly how to do it and doing it in an effective way. And then we went over skills training. Now, we weren't able to go as deep into skills training as we normally do, but David did a great job talking about form. Forming is very, very important, because listen, once you start talking to people, family, occupation, recreation, and motivation, in case you guys missed last week, and I'll go ahead and say that again: family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. That's form. And so it's just having a conversation with somebody, letting them talk, being an active listener. You see, me being a presenter and me, getting up in front of the room, I listen all the time, even before I get up to the front of the room. I listen to conversations. I want to see what it is that I have, what can I present from the front that's going to be most effective to the people that are listening. And the only way you can do that is talking to people, because people are going to tell you exactly what it is that they need. They're going to tell you what is that we have, what can benefit them the most. And if you actively listen, if you find out about their family, what it is that they like to do, if they didn't have to go to work, what is it that they would want to do right now if they had the time freedom and the money freedom? That's the recreation. All right, the occupation, what do they do right now? What pains them about what it is that they do right now? What can we provide that can give them that time back? And then you find out that motivation. All right, they want to give their family a better life, like I did. I was that overworked dad. All right, was in love with my family, but I could never show it because I never got to be able to spend time with them. Then once you figure that out, then you can go ahead and transfer our beliefs or what it is that we do over to that person. But last but certainly not least, guys, is the signature talk. And the signature talk, I tell you what, this separates, I wouldn't say the amateurs, because sometimes I still feel like that I'm an amateur. Like, I've only been in this industry for 8 years. You have people that have been in this industry for 30 years, 40 years. I feel like I'm still learning. But this is when you become the subject matter expert. This is when you become that old sage on the hill, that person that is giving that advice. And it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about credit. It could be about business. It could be about toilet paper. It could be about makeup. It could be about skincare. It could be about the ocean floor. It could be about education. Your signature talk is something that just sets you apart as a presenter. It sets you apart, as a business person, I guess you want to say. And I can't think of nobody better to present this information. Xavier will probably talk about it at the end. But, there's a lot of us that, we pay $10,000 each to be mentored by Eric Worre for a year. And when he talked about the signature talk, it was mind blowing, because we see it all the time, but we don't know what we're seeing. You see, after we get finished this presentation, you're going to look at Facebook Lives a different way. You're going to look at, YouTube videos a different way. You're going to look at, even when you go to church, you're going to look at it a different way, because now you're going to say, oh, he's giving a signature talk, or she's giving a signature talk. But now you're going to learn the elements of a signature talk. You look at Bruno's lives. Bruno does a signature talk probably 3 times a day. All right. He's done a signature talk. He's not all talking about credit. He's talking about lifestyle. He's talking about a lot of things, but Bruno has learned and mastered the signature talk. That's why he has such a huge following. You see, guys, I want everyone to take note, because when David presents this, and I can't think of anybody better to do it, he has made this his baby. He has become the expert of the signature talk. And I want everyone to really take notes, take screenshots. And I want you to practice this, because if you can become good at this, guys, sky is the limit. You're no longer in this bubble of, hey, the only thing I really know about is credit and finance. Now you can go to any arena and present it in a way that people want to listen to you, but then they want to pay you in order to go ahead and give the talk. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in, a really, really good friend of mine, a guy that's become a brother to me. And I don't say that lightly. All right, has truly become a brother to me over the past 4.5 years. I've seen him grow so much, as a person, as a presenter, as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a business partner in person. This company and this industry truly, truly does bring people together. It's the old saying, strangers become friends and friends become family. If you've been in our company and in this culture that our senior vice president has cultivated, that's true. I spend more time, honestly, with people in this business and on our team than I do with my family, because you are my family. But there are certain people that you just gravitate to. And this is one person that I've gravitated to, not because he was our sponsor and the one that brought me in. It's just because we work so well together. Our families are friends, and he's become truly, truly like a brother to me. So our executive vice president, Mr. David Marquez, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I got you, my brother. Take it away.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you. Well, first, I want to give it up to God, right? If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. I also wanted to give it up to Myra for always coming through every single week on point. And let's give it back to Dr. Arnold Bogerty. He did a great job summing up, the others, really the other 4 presentations that we all should know. But I kind of want to drop in the chat value if you felt these last 5 weeks you've gotten value, right, from these presentations. Now, the purpose was for us to have a major breakthrough, right? And I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys were here in the first week when we talked about why we're doing this, but Eric Worre, who we learned this from, actually told a story about a lady who was generating multiple, she was a 6-figure earner. The problem was every time she got sick or went on vacation, her team, she never got past the 6-figure stage. And so she asked Eric Worre, and he said, look, you should take this course, learn these 5 presentations and teach it to your team. And 1 year later, just by doing this, having them all implement this, right? Because this is really, Dr. Arnold Bogerty says it, knowledge is power. It's not. Application of knowledge is the power. So applying it. So the first year, the lady actually had her team do it, and just duplicating it created so many presenters that she was able to train them, and they became leaders doing the exact same thing. And it was just phenomenal seeing how everybody was able to generate their story. And she created multiple 6-figure earners, which made her a multiple 7-figure earner. So we wanted to do the same and give you guys this valuable information for free, even though we each paid $10,000. And so the signature talk is one of my favorite. That's why it's at the top of the pyramid, because it really generates and boils everything down to you being the expert. And so what better way than to make an impact on someone else's life, right? By doing this. And so one of the things I learned about doing this was, in the beginning, I remember I was one of those that were chasing people, right? And hunting. But then I went from chasing people to doing these signature talks once I learned it. And then it went from me chasing to people actually chasing me. I would wake up with emails. I wake up with enrollments just because of the value, right? We always say it. Dr. Miles Monroe says, don't chase success, be a person of value, and people are going to naturally be drawn to you. You're like a magnet. And look, as I'm talking to you, right? I just got an enrollment, right? I didn't even talk to the person. Why? Because value. So again, drop a value in the chat if you feel that you've gotten that so far. We're going to end it. We're going to close it with a cherry on top, right? I'm going to teach you guys the signature talk. So take plenty of notes, because this is where you're not talking about the product or service. This is more like you're basically opening with something that's going to relate to the product or service to draw them in. So you're not coming off as a salesman, but as that old wise sage. And so I'm going to share my screen with you guys so we can jump straight into the training. And Arnold, tell me if you can see it. Am I good?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. So we did a recap, so I can kind of skip that. And we did talk about the form. And now we're in week 5, right? So week 5, the signature talk. So over the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to go over 4 parts of your presentation. right? The signature talk to give you the secret effective tool that creates effective communication. And this will overall increase your conversion ratio. Like Dr. Bogerty said with, Bruno, most of the people that do signature talks, they do it all the time. Your kids probably see people. I know I was watching the Royalty Family. My daughter watches it all the time. And that's what they do. They basically engage with people. So what is a signature talk? It's basically a talk that positions you as a subject matter expert. It can be done in 3 minutes on an elevator or 3 hours, right, on a trip somewhere. It can be done, one-to-one in front of somebody or with your Uber driver, or it can be done in front of hundreds of people like this ballroom, this picture you see here, right? It's the main purpose is to get people, to want to enter the next step with you. And then it solves the problem for your target audience, whatever that may be, right? And so I'm going to give you some examples, but first I want to talk about the research. You see all these people here, but the Nobel Prize, if you look at the end, the bottom one, Richard Thaler, he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, right? Economist that actually taught during a crisis how to get people to take action. And so we just went through a crisis, a pandemic. And so you can use a lot of these, but it all comes down to this, communication, right? Type of 1 through 10, how you feel as a communicator, right? If you're an awesome communicator, drop a 10, right? If you're still working on it, go ahead and drop it in the chat so I can see. Okay, 8, 10, 8. Well, there you go. We got a lot of people with good posture. There you go. 3 or 4, okay. That's good. Transparency is key. I'm going to teach you guys how to be an effective communicator by the end of this, right? And so the first, we want to clarify that there's 2 questions that we want to really tone in on, right? What is the problem that you're solving when you're doing the signature talk? And then number 2, who's your target audience? But first, I want you to remember what life was like right before, because I see a lot of people, right? We're dealing with financial literacy, wealth building, credit. You got to put yourself in the shoes before you learned everything, right? I see a lot of people get too complex and too complicated talking about a lot of stuff, when in reality, you don't have to go into, these complex, terminology. In the beginning, you didn't know all of that, right? So I use this picture of Neo because this is what it reminds me of. If you guys ever seen The Matrix, you remember he didn't know anything until he was, until he finally was unplugged from the Matrix. So you got to put yourself back then, how you were. You didn't know all of these. You didn't know the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971, right? You didn't know any of that. You just knew that we were never taught financial literacy in school. So these are some of the key things you want to do when you're talking to people, right? It's a language game. You don't want to use big words. You want to use things that are very simple, common, and relatable. Like I didn't like my boss. I didn't want to, there were people that I worked with, my coworkers that I couldn't stand, right? I don't know if my job will be here 2 months from now. I'm away from my kids too much, right? These are all simple things that you can use when you're putting together your signature talk, but you want to make it really relatable. At the time, I wanted to supplement my income. I didn't want to DJ, right? I didn't want to DJ, own a cell phone repair shop, and I really wanted to supplement my income to have one thing. And so, again, number 1, what is the problem you're trying to solve? If you do this right? If you figure it out right, this is the beauty of it. It doesn't matter what happens during the presentation, people are going to do business with you. If you do it wrong, though, it doesn't matter how great the presentation is, what happens during the presentation, they're not going to get started with you. They're not going to do business with you. So you got to make sure that you're solving a problem. And then you also got to find out who's your target audience, right? You don't want to shotgun this to the world. That's one of the things that I learned when I was doing it. I made sure that I catered to my people. I didn't just shotgun it to everybody. I focused on entrepreneurs. I focused on DJs. I focused on people that related to me. So who are the people most likely to say yes to your products, right? I focused on the minorities. A lot of us were never taught financial literacy in school. So I knew that if I was catering to realtors. So you need to know who's your target audience, and then you can craft your signature talk, right? So I'm going to give you examples of what I did, but I just wanted to make sure you know the first two things. Now that you know your target audience, you want to come up with a great headliner. See, I use this because if you're ever standing outside in Publix and you're purchasing something, right? They call this the POS, the point of sale. They put these out there, those magazines. And why do they have these out there? And why do they have these big, the new sex, scandal, right? It may say something off the wall, but it's a headline that makes people pick it up, read it, and purchase it. That's how you want your title to be. See, when I did my lives in the beginning, a lot of people knew me for I quit my job on a Tuesday. Yeah, it's funny, but if you think about it, every Tuesday I would go live, and on my title, my headline would be I quit my job on a Tuesday. So it was almost like an episode every Tuesday that people got to see. And so you can use words like secret, hidden, tips, tricks, right? I used to use, I would, whenever I would do signature talk, it could be like, look, the three things why medical collections are a violation of HIPAA, right? Are the three secrets that your boss doesn't want you to know, right? And you see this, as I'm talking to you guys about this, it probably comes to mind when you're seeing a sponsored ad, somebody saying, three tricks to get rich, right? And so this is what they're doing. They're actually preparing you for a signature talk. And so you got to come up with a great headliner, make it controversial, just like these magazines here. Controversial is always good, right? I'll give you an example of one that I use, right? That you can actually have. And it's pretty simple. I did one, you could say, where I effed up my mom's credit, right? Now someone's going to click on it and wonder, like, damn, what the hell is this 40-year-old man, messing his mama's credit up, right? And so, hold on. And so the thing is it's just to get them, it's to really to capture them, right? Now they go ahead and look at it. And what you can do is I could talk about how when I was 18 years old, my mom co-signed for me, right? So on the signature talk, I'm going to talk to you about the opening, how you go into your story. And I'll touch on that in a second. But before you do your signature talk, you have to go out and find the content that you're going to do. You got to research. I went to school, I studied, and I learned about credible sources, right? That was about one of the only things I did learn in school, right? But I tell everybody this, even in my presentations, I learned most of my stuff from YouTube University. So you can go to YouTube or Google or books and research information. And here's the tip. You can go to YouTube, type up something like, why are medical collections a violation of HIPAA? And you can look at all these videos, look at one that has a lot of views, and you could just look and see if it's a lot of thumbs up and very few thumbs down. That's probably a good one. I would look for one that was under 10 minutes, and then I would watch it, write my key 3 top, bullets of what I'm going to talk about. And that's it. Now you can start your signature talk. Now you can start that, right? So the lowest hanging fruit are typically the people you want to start with, right? The people you relate with. If you're a realtor, I would focus on realtors, right? Maybe you could go and do a signature talk on the 3 things to help you close more at the closing table, right? Or the 3, if you're a DJ like me, that's what I would do. I say a way to supplement my income because I was tired of DJing at night and on the weekends. So these are just ideas, but you always want to start with the lowest hanging fruit. That's how I develop my success. And now we're going to jump straight into it. So I told you how to prepare for the signature talk. Now I'm going to give you the framework. So your signature talk, there's 4 parts to it, right? It's going to be your heart. You want to start with, you remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to connect with their heart first. That's what's going to captivate them. That's what's going to make them want to see it. Then you're going to go to the head, which is basically 3 to 5 points, right? 3 to 5 critical steps where you're including your story in the beginning. And then after you do those 3 to 5 bullets, you're going to do the hands, which is a call to action. You're going to guide them, right, with your hands. And then the last part is ending with the heart, memorable story. And, you know, me and Dr. Bogerty, last year during the GoPro Accelerator, we actually heard Ed Milet talk about this. You guys ever notice that? Why do kids always want McDonald's? Do you know why? It's because they're happy. Everyone buys off of emotion. And so what better way to advertise McDonald's than to have this happy meal, right? It makes me happy. So when we close at the end of our presentations, or if you're doing a signature talk, you want to have your tactical, points. You want to have, the facts, but you also want to end with emotion. People buy off of emotion. So, well, how could you do that? You could say, look, I can't guarantee you're going to have success in this. I can't guarantee that you're going to make $10,000 a month, but I can guarantee you're going to be happier, right? You're going to have this support. And so just by doing that, guys, you're going to end it with and it always ended with a memorable story. We do it all the time. I'm going to give you guys an example, but these are the 4 parts to generating your signature talk. So I'm going to go through each one. Number 1, the heart. You want to connect with the heart, right? Number 2, I told you 3-5 critical steps. Teach them something new. This is not where you sell. This is where you kind of come in and you start talking to them about, what it is that you're teaching them. And again, it doesn't have to be about UCES, doesn't have to talk about, the credit. I can simply say, my mom, I messed up her credit and, it hurt because obviously I couldn't pay my rent. And because of that, I ruined her credit. So I'm going to teach you guys today 3 ways to build your child's credit before they turn 18, right? That's my signature talk heading. Then I'm going to say, but first, let me tell you who I am so we're not complete strangers. You see how I go to my story? You're always going to lead with your story. So I'll say my name is David Marquez. I DJ on the cell phone, blah, 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 blah. Went from this to now this. And now my future is, I'm looking to help people. And this is why I'm here sharing with you guys this story. So 3 things. This is where I go into the critical steps. Number 1, get your child on as an authorized user, not a co-signer, because an authorized user, they inherit the payment history. It doesn't matter. The kid doesn't even have to get a credit card. Just by doing that, their credit is going to go up. So it doesn't affect you like when you co-sign for them. Number 2, you can actually get something like Chime or get something like Greenlight, right? Which I have for my kids. Teaches them how to manage their money. Tells me how much they're spending at the gas station. Tells me, it asks permission. Even teaches them about stocks. And then number 3, you can actually have your kids, join finance. Like Robert Kiyosaki has a board game that teaches kids like Monopoly about financial literacy. See, those are 3 critical things that I just taught somebody. I didn't even mention UCS. I didn't even mention that my product, but I educated them and I became that subject matter expert that when I go to the next step, right, my hands, the call to action, I could simply say, now, if you found value in that, click the link below to register for my free workshop, right? Or subscribe to my YouTube channel. The hands, the call to action is a simple statement to get them to do something. Now, here's a tip. Stop giving options at the end. Don't tell them to like and subscribe, sign up for my website or sign up for my workshop, go to this, go to that. Instead of doing that, pick one thing, right? It's a perfect presentation ends with just one thing. It doesn't have an off-road to multiple solutions, right? I can promise you this. If you're saying you should do this, and this, you can expect your audience to do nothing. So when you do the call to action, make sure it's just one thing, right? Whatever it is, whether it's to subscribe, whether it's to like, whether it's to share, or whether it's to sign up for your free workshop. But then you're going to end it again with a heartfelt story, memorable story, right? You got to remember, here's a bonus tip. There's two types of decision makers, especially if you're married or you have a significant other. Typically, you're married, one will be tactical, right? One is more factual. One wants the hard facts. The other one is emotional, buys off of emotions. And so you really, when you do this, you want to kind of cater and tailor to both of them. And so this is the bonus tip. If you're talking to a husband and a wife, always know that if one is tactical and the other is emotional, you need to get both of them to say yes before you can move forward, right? And so the signature talk, I told you the 4 parts, right? Heart, the head, the hands, and the heart. Another way to look at it, right? You can actually say the opening, right? The content, the 3 to 5. Then the tactical, which is the hands. This is what you can do. And then the emotional. So this is another way of doing it. So the opening is typically, there's 3 things you want to show in the opening, right? You want to have an ordinary story, right? Then it goes to extraordinary. And then it goes to your why, right? So I give people an example like this, right? Ordinary is where you make it relatable. You see, I tell you I was a DJ. Not everybody's a DJ, right? But how do I make it ordinary? I can say, I remember that I used to work late nights. I used to work and I worked at night and on the weekends. My kids were out of school at night and on the weekends. I can remember the fact that I wasn't able to see my kids play their games. I didn't even get to see them take their first steps. The craziest part about it all is that you didn't have to be a DJ to relate, right? If you could relate to me on that, type of 1 in the chat. See, an ordinary story is to make it sound like I'm just like you, right? I also walked in your shoes, and this is where you're going to find common ground. Now, number 2 is extraordinary. This is where you're going to basically come in with the solution to the problem that you still had, right? Also, you want to say things like, I figured out something that you're still struggling with, or I found a way, right? It sounds similar to your story. This is why you start off with it in the beginning, the opening. And then number 3, show your why. What hurts you, right? Why is just an acronym for what hurts you? Why is this important to you? And so here's a warning. You can take a screenshot of this. When you're doing the opening, when you're doing this part, or the heart, 3 C's to avoid. You want to avoid being cheesy, right? Leading with the product or opportunity. You want to avoid being cash driven, because people don't like that. Remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So why would you come in it thinking about being cash driven? And then number 3, avoid being overconfident, right? Nobody likes somebody that's too cocky. Instead, this is the C that you do want to lead with. You want to lead with compassion. You see, when you lead with compassion, that's when people see that you don't look at them as a number and that you truly care. People are going to join with people that honestly care about them. I tell people like this, instead of looking at it like a hunter, you should look at it as being a farmer, right? And if you do that, you're going to see a lot more people coming in. Now, when you're giving your first part, the opening, and you're going to come in and you tell a story, try not to have too much of a powerful story. And I'm going to tell you why this is really important. If you've never been homeless, you don't have a rags to riches story, no worries. I remember Eric Worre sharing this story about a guy who would get inside of, in front of every room presentation, this guy would talk about how he climbed Mount Everest. Now, I want to, just out of curiosity, how many people in the chat has actually climbed Mount Everest, right? Go ahead and type liar in the chat if you have, because I don't know anybody that has. You may have. If anybody has climbed Mount Everest, type 1 in the chat. But let's just be real. No one can really relate to that. Now, if you can't relate to it, then it's not a selling point. But check this out. How many more people can relate to this? There was actually a couple that during the pandemic, they actually were talking, and they mentioned as they were speaking on stage that they were going in there and they had a debate between, husband and wife, if the toilet paper is supposed to hang under or over. So type in the chat, what do you think? Is it under or over? Now, this is the funniest part, that all of them, between the guy that climbed Mount Everest and the couple that was debating on if it goes over or under, I see a lot of people say over. I agree. It's supposed to be over because of gravity, right? It's supposed to hang. I get it. Whatever. To each his own. I say whatever's the quickest way. So this is my biggest pet peeve. I see. Okay. So if you think about it, in 1859, the courts decided over. Okay, Tina, that's a bit much, but okay, I guess it's over. So when someone can relate and wants to engage with us after a presentation, we call those people customers, distributors, prospects. Who do you think had more people come over to them? The guy who climbed Mount Everest, or the people that were debating on whether toilet paper hung under or over? It obviously was the couple, because more people could relate to this. And so my whole point behind this is make sure that you make it very relatable, and you're going to see more people are engaging with you. So the quickest way to get through the 3 parts of the opening, right, which I told you, ordinary, extraordinary, and the why, is through episodic storytelling, right? Tell it in the now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen to show you guys, because I share this with everybody. I remember when I give people my story about coming into this industry, I was super pumped up. I was excited. I always do this. And I'll tell them, I said, I remember I got home and, I had just finished hearing about this amazing opportunity. I'm fired up. But then I heard about the rejection rocket. I said, let me put it to the test. So I got home. The lights were off like this. And then I basically kicked open the door, turned on the lights, went to my wife, woke her up and said, baby, I got it. I know what we're going to do. I'm going to retire you. I'm going to do network marketing. I'm not going to DJ. We're going to travel the world, and I'm going to earn residual income with the kids. And she said, no, we're not, David. Turn off the lights. I need to get up and go to work in the morning. Now, I told that in the now, right? I basically did it as if it just happened. When I tell people that, that's through an episodic story. And it's also relatable, because people can be like, I can imagine my wife or my husband doing the same thing. When you tell a story, make sure you do it in that same sense, that you do it in the now, right? And so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with you guys and continue. Bonus tip. There's 3 types of ways of speaking, all right? When you speak to somebody, you can speak high pitch, typically fast, and the problem is a lot of people will take it, they don't take it as serious, opposed to being, if you use it, if you say it in the middle voice, right, which is your throat, it's kind of a combination of the two. You're gonna get your message across, but it's not going to be more as powerful as speaking it with your chest, right? If you speak in a lower pitch or slower pace, you're going to have more people lean into what you're talking about, and it's just more effective. So it is a bonus tip. I tell everybody to, as the wise theologian T.I. said, say it with your chest, right? And you're going to see yourself a lot more people taking you more seriously. And so another bonus tip, you want to include an I believe statement in your opening, right? When you're doing your heartfelt opening, you want to make sure that you throw in an I believe, right? Here's an example of an I believe statement. You can say, look, I believe we shouldn't have to rely on anyone for income, and that we should be in control of our financial future, right? If I was doing the one with my, I effed my mom's credit, right? The topic. And the first opening statement is, I remember when I first, got my apartment, my mom co-signed for me and I ruined her credit. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about, these 3 topics, but I believe that every child should be financial literate so that they don't mess up, so that way, your child's not messing up your credit, but at the same time, they're able to take care of themselves in the future when you're not there. Or another way you can say it is, I believe everyone should control their financial destiny. So always include an I believe statement. It shows more that you have power. People are more likely to follow people that know where they're going. And so when you say that I believe statement, it just shows a lot more.
Hey, David, let me hop in for a second on that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole point of the I believe statement, guys, is to get people agreeing with you, to get people doing like this, heads north and south, to get them agreeing. When you say I believe, then people they start paying a little bit more attention to you, because now you're making a statement about what you're truly talking about right now. So when you say I believe every child, should control their financial destiny, that just bought you 10 more minutes of them paying attention to you, because now they're focusing on you like, okay, yeah, I believe that too. And so the whole psychology behind the I believe statement is to get people going north and south. You want to catch their attention, because now you're talking, you're being vulnerable. This is what I believe. And I'm going to be unapologetic in standing in front of this room and teaching you or talking to you about what it is I believe. So that's the purpose behind the I believe statement. And the I believe statement, a lot of the time, comes in your story. All right. If you don't know, you're saying I believe statement when you're telling your story. But that I believe statement in the signature talk sets the tone for that signature talk. All right, guys, throw it back to you, Dave.
Thank you. So after you do the I believe statement, obviously this is where you're going to come in with your, you're going to end your opening with the road mapping, right? And so what do I mean by that? That's where you're going to come in with like the 3 things I'm going to teach you today. In the next 30 minutes, right? You're going to give them that time frame. I'm going to teach you this, this, and this. See, a lot of you guys don't know it, but I actually started the signature talk like that. And this is a slide. Remember that? I said, over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to go over 4 parts of your presentation, right? The heart, head, hands, and heart, and give you the secret of effective communication and increase your overall conversion ratio, right? So I did that. And that's exactly how you should be when you're doing your signature talk. But just remember this when going over your opening or the heart statement. The only purpose of the opening is to connect with your audience, connect with you, have them connect with you, fall in love with you, and see themselves in you, right? So number 2, right? The content. This is the head, if you will, right? This is actually going over everything. Now, when you're going over, this is where you really solve problems that the audience has without buying your products, without selling them, right? So this could be the content, right? This is where you make it a topic related to your products. You make it related. It could be, if it ain't the products, it could be related to the business opportunity, right? Like I quit my job on a Tuesday. I would always do that, right? I would always give three topics or 5, whatever it is. But I'm just going to completely go away from, credit and financial literacy, so you guys really understand this signature talk. And I'm going to give you an example about if I had a cleaning service, right? If I had a residential or commercial cleaning service, I'm not going to go into a school and tell them I want to sell myself so that people hire me as their cleaning person, right? I'm going to do a signature talk on cleaning products, right? So here's an example of that. All right. How to deep clean your kitchen, right? Here would be an opening. Being that we're in a crisis and many people have had to let go of their cleaning staff, and because more people are conscious of germs and viruses right now, it's more important than ever to keep a clean, germ-free kitchen. So in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you guys how to clean and kill off all the germs in the kitchen, right? Now, the person who actually helps is the one who gets the business. So what I just did, I'm going to be teaching the criteria. This is what we call teach the criteria technique. So take a screenshot of this, because you're going to get ideas on how to apply it to to the credit repair, to UCS or to UWE. So here's an example with the cleaning business, right? I can say, look, guys, you don't have to buy my cleaning products, but you should definitely buy some cleaning products. When you decide to buy some cleaning products, here's some of the criteria I would look out for, right? Or what I would choose from. I would choose something that maybe, doesn't kill your pet, right? And this is what I would look for, right? You can tell them all types of different things, right? But just by teaching that criteria, the funny thing is by the end of this presentation or by the end of the signature talk, who do you think they're going to want to go to if they do want somebody to clean their house? And so the beauty of this is you go from leading with the product to actually leading with helpful advice. And so when you teach those techniques and tips, you're not viewed as a sleazy salesperson, right? Or somebody that's like, buy my stuff. Instead, you're viewed as an expert and serving help for them. And this is why we do first-time homebuyer programs, right? I go out there and I teach people the process on fixing their credit without having to tell them to buy my services. Guess who do you think all the realtors, lenders, brokers, and even the clients that are there want my business card for? And so here's a bonus tip. Take another screenshot of this. These are helpful words to use to add into your content when you're doing the signature talk. So number one, you can say when implemented correctly. Those 3 words right there, take it from doing it on their own to doing it with you. So here's an example. Working a home-based business, when implemented correctly, can give you freedom, extra income, and more time with your kids. Now, here's another way. Like I use this example all the time. Let's say I'm a yoga instructor, right? We all know stretching before working out can prevent you from having an injury, right? Blowing your back out or something. But we all know that, common sense. However, if I say stretching, when implemented correctly, can avoid you from having a serious injury when working out. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, damn, am I even stretching right? Maybe I need to reach out to David or, this yoga instructor to get a free, to maybe do a workout session to make sure I'm doing it right. So this is a bonus tip I encourage everybody to start using. You can even say, here's an example right here. I can say, look, credit repair, when implemented correctly, can give you significant results and boost your credit score in a short period of time. However, if you don't do it right, or you go through the wrong program, it can actually cost you many years and a lot of, unnecessary interest. Now they're going to want more information from you. Again, I didn't tell them my product. I didn't tell them what company I'm with. I'm just being that old wise sage. And so then number 3, right? The tactical call to action, or the hands, right? This is the tactical call. Remember, it isn't multiple options. It isn't this, and this, click like, share, join my, website, join the work, web, whatever it is, Saturday workshop. You're not giving a lot of different things. You're just pointing them to one thing. So here's some examples. You can take a screenshot of it. It's basically, look, here's a link to my startup kit to buy. Or here's a free sample, right? A lot of people have those, remember guys, those printouts, those on Google, you can actually get a lot of those, change of addresses on your, dispute letters. You can provide that for people as a free sample. Guess what? That's awesome, because if somebody's not ready to get started right away, you can still provide them with that. They can go ahead and submit that. And so when they do get started, you've already helped them. They're going to sign up with you. You can even do a quick, register for my free workshop and host a first-time homebuyer program with the realtor or lender and you going over the 5 credit factors, right? That's a simple free workshop you can give people and do your call to action to that after you give your signature talk. Then you can even say something like, come to our group call tomorrow, and invite them to a webinar or to a PBR if they're local, which is the next one, invitation to an event. You can use LinkedIn, right? Say, click below to my, not my LinkedIn, but my Eventbrite, and register for our upcoming, brunch or luncheon. And the last one is link to learn more or sign up to be a distributor, which is going straight for the sign up. But remember, the call to action shouldn't be all of these. Pick one and stick to it. You have to decide what's the one thing you want your audience to do. Because remember, if you tell them to do this, this, and this, you can guarantee they'll do none. And then the last part, the closing heart, the story. I love the way Dr. Arnold Bogerty ends every presentation because he does this, very skillfully. And he talks about exactly what I said, like the Happy Meal. So I would love to have him come in because why do we do this? We want to make it memorable. We want people to really think about it. They got all the information. They got all the facts. Now people we know buy off of emotions. And I want to bring you in, Dr. Bogerty, if you don't mind, to kind of share how you normally end the presentation because you do a phenomenal job at it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And so I'm a big heart closer because people buy all the emotion. And so what did we do? We gave them a lot of facts. And this is just going back to our presentation. So, we talk about our story. That's why it's always great to set things up with your story because I end basically with the things that I said in my story. And, if you guys see the last slide, it says the secret to getting ahead is to get started. And then, you go and I take off the screen or, I'll look an audience member in the eye or a couple audience member in the eye and say, hey, listen, the reason why I got started is because I wanted to give my family an extraordinary life. An extraordinary life, not an ordinary life. And I knew that if I kept doing what I did, I wouldn't be able to do that. So here's what I can guarantee. Here's what I can't guarantee. I can't guarantee you're going to be a millionaire. It would be unethical for me to do that. I can't even guarantee that you're going to be an executive vice president like our executive vice president, David Marquez. But here's what I can guarantee. I can guarantee you that you're going to be happier. I can guarantee that you're going to be supported. But what I really, really can guarantee is that you're going to be able to make an impact and make a difference. You see, guys, that is a heart close. That's an emotional close because what person doesn't want to be happy? What person doesn't want to be supported? And what person doesn't want to make an impact? So that's what we call a heart close. And that is why you get so many people not thinking about, oh, I don't have the money, or who do I know that can sign up? They're like, you know what? Yes, I do want to be happy. I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact. And so that's what we talk about when we talk about a heart close, guys.
Phenomenal job. Yes. So every time that happens, that leaves people thinking. And so I just want everybody to understand the power of all of this, right? So going over what we just went over, right? We actually completed the signature talk. And if you guys ever see, I'm going to give you an example right now because I always do this, but if you're ever scrolling on Facebook and now we finished the 5 parts. So I want you guys to see this, right? This is crucial because you can actually, if you participated in all the 5 weeks, you could literally go and do a signature talk and a workshop designed off of these 5 presentations. So I'll put it together for you guys and show you how easy it is once you do it. So these are the 5. Remember, your story, perfect opportunity, getting started, skills, and signature talk. So if you're scrolling on Facebook and you happen to see me, right? And I say, hey guys, how's it going? My name is David Marquez, and I'm going to teach you guys the 5 presentations every entrepreneur should know. Right? But before we get into that, so we're not complete strangers. I used to be known as DJ De Niro. I lived paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't even there for my kids. I was looking for a way out and I found it through this unique opportunity, and it's completely changed my life. I've been able to help others do the same. And now that I got that time freedom that I was looking for, I now want to pay it forward and help others do the same, which is why I'm here today to teach you these 5 presentations. So enough about me. Let's get into the 5 presentations every entrepreneur should know. Number 1, your story. Why is this so important? Because your story starts off with everything. I actually just started it with you guys so you guys understood my background, what hurt me, the time freedom I didn't have, the solution that I found, and obviously the 4th part of your story, which is the future, me helping more people by paying it forward. Number 2, the business opportunity. It's important whether you're selling this here water or you're selling a service. It's important to know the 5 elements, right? the product, the company, the comp plan, the support, the timing. All of that is important because it's why somebody should partner up with you, right? Number 3, you want to make sure you know how to get somebody started right. Setting them up with the expectations, the onboarding, right? Setting them up with actual launching them, right? Because it is a presentation in itself. Even though it's a conversation, it's going to help you get that person onboarded and launched properly, getting started. Number 4, skills training. You know, learning how to invite, follow up, close, all types of skills. That's a presentation in itself. And then the last one, the signature talk, which is like a TED talk. It's being that old wise sage, not selling, but having people come to you because you're the subject matter expert, and it teaches you, instead of chasing people, people chasing you. And that's it, guys. Those are the 5 right there. If you learn that, you will be a master. Not only will you be a master presenter, you can teach this to your team and organizations, and then your income will grow along with theirs. If you want to learn more, go ahead and sign up for my free workshop where I'm going to dive deeper into these 5 presentations, and it's 2 days long this Saturday. Sign up, guys. Trust me, it'll change your world. And that's it. Boom. I just showed you the signature talk in under a couple minutes. Sponsored ad. How many people sign up for that? Boom, 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 boom. This is where you're the subject matter expert. Now, after you teach them that one weekend, you can actually do an 8-week training with them on each one and charge them $5,000 or $1,000 or $700, whatever you want. Imagine that. Something you record one time using Kajabi, and now you're able to go ahead and do that. And it's like an asset. It sits there and you can always generate income from it. This is why it was important information, guys. Hopefully it was valuable to you guys. Wanted to make sure everybody understood. And here's the power of OPS, right? We call it other people's stages. When you're a master presenter and you master all of these and you're doing these signature talks like that, this is where you don't have to pay to get on stage. They actually call you and pay you to get on stage, like Tony Robbins or Les Brown. And the cool thing about it is that you go on stage, they're paying you, paying for your flight, asking for your rider. What do you want? You want red M&M, whatever it is. Now you go, and after you do it, you can say, hey guys, even then when you're doing your signature talk, which is a keynote, you can then do your call to action. Anybody that wants my book, sign up for my book. Now you're also selling. So you're not only getting paid on stage, but now you're also selling. So you're getting paid to market yourself. What better way? And then if you think about it, you doing this, presenting in front of 80 people, the ratio is you probably get 8 signups from people that listen to you on that stage. But imagine if you have a team of just 10 people doing this, right? Now that's 800 people listening to it, which is 80 signups. This is the art of actual duplication and being able to, exponentially grow by teaching your whole team this. So hopefully you guys got value over the last 5 weeks. I'm pretty much done. I know we're 8 minutes over, but I want to make sure that everybody got it. So I don't know, Dr. Bogerty, got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that was a phenomenal close, David, because I've heard you do that before, and you can tell that you've been doing it over and over again. What he did, I don't know if you guys caught it, but he did in about 2.5 minutes what we see on every infomercial, that comes over Facebook or YouTube. If you guys notice, Eric Thomas gives all of his information away for free. Why does he do that? Because he gets $1 million to speak at a speaking gig. And then he sells his book in the back. If you buy it, I'm gonna sign it for you. So now he's made another $300,000 at the gig, all by doing what? Providing value. You see, the whole thing about a signature talk, guys, is providing value. When you provide value, people notice, and then they want you to come and provide that value for them. And so that's all the signature talk is. So like David said, man, it's been a pleasure. When we get asked by our senior vice president to train, we don't take it lightly. We want to add value because we want to continue that culture. And then we want you to be able to provide value. That way you keep adding value to other people. And that's how we build a huge community of people that are just helping other people and making an impact. And so for the people that stayed on training, you know, you're the ones that are going to be the next Bianca to hit ESD and maybe hit vice president in the next couple of days. You're going to be the Rob Santiago who's probably going to hit regional vice president. You're going to be those people because now you're paying it forward. You're able to add value. People see it, then they're able to add value. And that's true duplication, like David said. And so I know our senior vice president is on. I can see him. He finally got a haircut. Y'all saw him. He looked terrible on Thursday. I ain't never seen Xavier without a haircut. Yeah, but that's how he was coming from. He was coming from the DR, all right? So we'll give him some credit there. But our senior vice president is on. We're going to throw it to you, my brother. Love you. David, great job. And we're going to send it to you, Xavier.
Oh, man, everybody, do me a favor. Put a number 1, put some flames on the chat, man. David just killed it. And like how how Arnold was just talking about it, guys, these last 5 weeks been so much value, so much information that is game changer to our actual business, to our actual industry. So again, big round of applause for those 2 individuals, Vice President Dr. Arnold Bogerty and our Executive Vice President, David Marquez. And like always, let's always give it back to Myra. You know, with her, every single time she starts speaking, we already know it's Myra, right? Edification is always on point. And it was pretty crazy because Arnold said, hey, you know what? I could not match what you normally do. And I totally agree. And we can all agree, Myra looks a lot better than Arnold do as well, right? So we definitely want to see Myra on the screen versus Arnold. But I have to say, it's crazy because when I was hearing Arnold edify David, I was like, man, he like stole Myra's DNA because he did so well. And again, this is what we talk about as leaders constantly being plugged in. You can see you have vice presidents and above that are here every single week faithfully. It's like church. The reason why is because we understand that every single week, doesn't matter how good we are. My coach always told me this, Xavier, you can only get better or worse every single day. You will never stay the same. And as leaders, we recognize that and we know that. So we're constantly just growing to help other people. But guys, look, enough of that because I'm super excited. Shout out to Bianca out there killing it. Shout out to Rob, who has this whole entire organization. The momentum is just crazy, right? It's like a Bruno momentum, like the energy is just crazy. So again, shout out to them because I'm just seeing them just work. And I feel it in my heart that my brother from another mother is going to hit that RBP. So let's just go ahead and give him a round of applause. Let's go ahead and send out those prayers. And let's just say, you know what, Rob, you got this in the bag. And shout out to your team for also helping you make this happen. But guys, look, I want to also put this out there. The reason why we're very excited is because every single time in the beginning of the year, after these 5 weeks, what we like to do is we like to give recognition. We like to show people and put the spotlight on them and say, you know what? You deserve recognition because you have worked your ass off these last 5 weeks. And if you got promoted or didn't get promoted, we definitely want to go ahead and give you that recognition. But for the ones that do get promoted, guys, as leaders, we're going to take the time and money to give you guys some type of awards. So make sure that you don't miss our Sunday Fun Day, which won't happen this Sunday. And normally it happens the first Sunday of the Value Month. It's going to happen the second Sunday. And the reason why is because we want to make sure we see everybody's title update. We want to make sure we have enough time to put in an order to get those trophies to come in, the awards, the plaques, whatever it might be. But super, super excited about that because, guys, keep this in mind. The momentum that you create right now, you're basically setting the tone for the rest of the year. And I have to say, with David and Arnold's training, that definitely set the tone. A lot of momentum. With the way Rob and his organization are moving, oh my God, it's like contagious. You have to be around that. All right. So again, thank you so much. I want to go ahead and give it back to Myra. Go ahead and have her close out. But again, salute to our trainers, man. Without them, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And even as the senior vice president, every single time David speaks, every single time Arnold speaks, I'm taking out my notebook and I'm writing down notes because they're going to say something that I have missed before, or I'm just like, oh man, how did I not know that? All right. So thank you again, Myra. I'll give it back to you. Let's get it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Of course, Arnold, amazing job. David, as always, amazing job. And definitely our senior vice president, Xavier, where we used to celebrate where there were, 20, 30 people on a Zoom. And now you've expanded to an entire nationwide team celebrating things like being able to retire your parents. So it's always an inspiration. Thank you as well. I know I came to you yesterday thinking you were going to help me solve one problem, and you ended up actually giving me the mindset, giving me the thought process behind how to be able to solve 2 or 3 or 4 or even more. It's definitely an exciting time. Shouting out everyone in advance and giving those huge congratulations in advance. Your week closes this Saturday. There's still a whole lot more to do. Definitely push through. You want to be recognized and celebrated. Our Family Fun Day will be on Sunday, 3/27. The flyer will follow, and we'll keep you plugged in with all the details and keep you up to date. Again, huge congratulations, everyone. Understand these success stories are so real. They happen day in and day out. Make sure you're stepping into creating yours, and mark your calendar if you didn't already know. Every single Tuesday we meet, we get to learn, and we get to hear from the best of the best. Much love to the entire team. Everyone have a blessed Tuesday night. Continue to crush everything for the rest of this week. And I look forward to seeing those of you, not only at our Family Fun Day, Sunday coming up, but tomorrow, Wednesday at our Glory Days event in Tampa, Thursday, our evening event as well, and moving along through all the other events that we have. So God bless everyone. Have an amazing night.
Good night. Good night.